Hello and welcome to the training on the schedule of values and reporting tools. This is where we learn how to take all of this information that we've been tracking in the project management tracker and quickly and easily, I mean in seconds, build a schedule of values and an invoice that we can send out to contractors instead of spending a lot of time trying to figure out the mathematics of getting paid. So we're back on the first cover sheet of our fictitious restaurant, Greasy Food, our Greek restaurant. If we click on the Project Management tab, we see that we go to the first page, the Job Information and Change Order tab. If there are any notes or anything that I have to do here, I can do that. Weekly Progress. In other trainings, we've put in more weekly progress on this particular job that I've deleted out so that we can see how the schedule of values works. Now I'm just going through these tabs. I'm clicking on productivity now. I'm just going through these tabs sequentially. You can go back and forth, do whatever you need to. I'm just reacquainting ourselves with the data that we've already entered. Now, okay, so the productivity in the next one is the schedule of values. As we entered information on on the cover sheet, let's just go back there really quickly. In the first training, when we talked about data entry, we put in our costs, and we talked about if you want to have margins or however you want to determine your costs are up to you. But the tool will separate your costs into three lump sums, into material, labor, and managerial, as you entered them on the cover sheet. So on the cover sheet we said $8,000 for material, labor $7,500, and it takes all the other costs and labels them managerial. And that includes our profit. We still have to bill for our profit, and that's part of management. The better management we do, the more profit we get. And that's the point of the PM tracker. So it automatically breaks everything down into the scheduled values, and that the general contractors like to see. This is our first schedule of values for this project, so we've done $0 for previous completion. We haven't entered in any information yet, so current completion is 0. And completed to date, same thing, we haven't entered in any information. And the balance to finish, we still have the $25,000, which was our original contract. Our adjusted contract was $27,188, and that's shown down here, and again, all automatically done for you, down in the change order section. On the right hand side, we have the billing scoreboard. Same information, just kind of breaks it down for us. Our original contract, what was our approved change orders, our total contract, completed to date, takes out retention for us, and then we can change our retention if we have to. If it's never less, in my experience, less than 5%, but it has been more. I've had up to 10% retention. If we have to change it, we do that simply by clicking that adjuster there. Total earned less retention, and then previous invoicing. So one thing that's in my experience, again, that's always been difficult for contractors to know exactly is where are they at on the job. And then that becomes a point of argument with the general contractor who disagrees. Well, we don't think you've done 40% of the labor. We think it's more like 32%. And then they change your invoice without telling you. Again, that's the cool thing about the PM tracker, is that according to the hours and production and everything else, the PM tracker will tell us, listen, you've spent 80% of your budget on material, 41% of your budget for labor, and 69% of your budget has been spent on managerial. So I can prove this thing with invoicing and the guys there and everything else. It even tells me how many footage, in this case, or units I have left to set or to complete, 1650. But it's real easy to I don't have to sit and ponder and contemplate. I know, according to the PM tracker, and as long as my information is correct and up to date, it's real simple. I can just click over here, double click. I like to go 0.8 for 80%. And notice what happens. It automatically calculates, according to my budget, 80% of that, my current completion, completed to date, and then my balance to finish. If for labor it says 41%, I'm going to go 45, just a little bit high, but not too bad. Now you can always use the up and down arrows if you prefer to do that. I just like to double click in there, and percentages are always 7.75, and just put that in there, and it happens real quick. So immediately it tells me what my total contract completed to date, less retention, total earned, 0 previous invoicing, and that's my current due. I haven't put anything on my change order. Let's say that I did 50% of that, and so that adds all of that in, and I'm good to go. So let's say that we go to the next week. Okay, let's say that we're billing weekly just for purposes of this training. So the next week, next billing period, I want to come in and I want to enter information. So let's say that I did 120 hours. We did the hard work in the first billing period. We're going to finish it up now. 1650 I think is what we had left to set. Materials, let's say that we had an additional 1,000. Labor, I don't know, 2,800. 350 in taxes. No financing expense, we'll say 150 and 50. Okay, so those are our expenses and numbers for the next billing period. If we go to schedule of values, now we can see that I'm at 91% of my budget, 74% of my labor, 92% of my managerial, but I have 0 left to set. So that actually, in my mind, I mean, we can look at our budget completion. We've completed 96% of my estimated budget, but I'm done with the job. So that's good for me, because that means I was able to complete the job under budget and hopefully on time or better than the time. We can double check ourselves in productivity, and I'm great across the board, except I'm a little over on man hours. I went over a little bit on my budget for taxes, and I hit my overhead management estimated amount. But other than that, I'm exactly on or under what I had estimated. So that's good. But back to the schedule of values. Now, I've already submitted the first schedule of values. So now I need to, now I have a previously invoiced, and that's real easy. So you just come over here. I previously invoiced 80%. I previously invoiced 45%. I previously invoiced 70%. And down on my change order, I previously had invoiced 50%. Now I'm finished with the job, so I'm gonna bill 100%. That's, you just type in 1. That's 100%. 1, 1, 1. So now we can look across the board. Balance to finish is 0. I've completed to date 25,000. My current completion is 8575. Previous completion was 16425. Same thing, same information down on the change orders. And my billing scoreboard shows how exactly everything is played out. Total retention, total earned, less previous invoice, 9,185. Now, how do we do the reports? Now, I can click on reports, and you can do this and you're going to want to do this every time you assemble a schedule of values and invoice. Just click on the reports tab. You click first the big red button. May not look like it does anything, but behind the scenes, it's loading all the pertinent information. Click to load the form, and this form should pop up with your internet. Now, you can use any browser, but if you're going to be loading forms, Internet Explorer, since this is Excel and that's a Microsoft program, seems to work the best. And so I suggest using that. All we have to do is click in the box, and then this little button up here with the clipboard is paste. And it pastes information in blue here that you really don't want to touch. We can see that the information that we had for our personal company is all loaded here automatically. And if I click on this down arrow down here at the bottom, I have an invoice. And it loads all of my information, the name of my company, my motto, my contact information, what the job is, the address, the date. Now, I may want to change the invoice number. It loads 100, but whatever invoicing system that you use for greasy food, here's the builders, and there should be their information. The original contract amount, plus the approved change orders, adjusted contract, work completed, less retention, same information that's in the schedule of values, but breaks it all down so that there's no question of what's going on. And if that weren't enough, the schedule of values, the same thing. A lot of times it's gonna squash these columns together, so you can just come along and double click on the little line and it'll automatically expand everything out for you. But again, same thing. All of the information that they need to do to get your invoice paid and on time. On the schedule of values, again, you'll want to have your application number and for the period that you're billing for, but other than that, everything else is automated for you. And if you want to bring that down into your own Excel spreadsheet program, you just click here. It's going to say, on mine, I have my security settings this way. Do I want to do this? Yes, I do. I want to allow that. It's opened it up over here on another page for me, so let me bring that over. But this is just now in my own Excel spreadsheet that I can save and print out, email, fax, whatever I want to do, it's ready to go. Okay, so that is the final training and on how to change up your, let me close everything out, how to permanently save and load your schedule of values in your invoicing. It's compatible with QuickBooks or anything else that you want to do. You can still invoice through those programs, but at least you have a printout right directly from your PM tracker so that you can assemble those quickly, easily, and automatically. Okay, appreciate your time. We'll see you up on the other trainings.